Yes, we are indeed live in the car with Star, out of the car. It's amazing. Here we are on this the 6th day of April. We're already into April. I'm back from California, and that means springtime is here, and that means the Major League Baseball season is on the cusp of returning for a 162 game affair. There was a minute there where it looked like maybe we weren't going to get 162 games, so let's get into the nitty and the gritty. Big thanks, of course, to all our sponsors, Ash Gregoire, Shaman and Nissan, Poutineville, Vaudreuil-Dorion, and K-Stop, Gaspar, and Deppener, Highway 138 in Ganawagi. Let me remind you now, get your tickets for Mike Patterson, the headliner, coming to Poutineville, Vaudreuil-Dorion, April 15th and 16th. Don't miss him. Friday and Saturday, 2 nights of great comedy. A pleasure to have Gerry B, the Prop King, back with us on Out of the Car with Star. Gerry, of course, has been with us throughout the course of the NFL season as we dove deep into the NFL playoffs. And now we're back, Gerry, to preview what should be a very exciting Major League Baseball season. And it's amazing to me that a team like the Toronto Blue Jays, who, by the way, are plus 160 to win the American League East Division, that's how heavily favored they are, that they could lose a Cy Young Award winner in a guy like Robbie Ray. They can lose Marcus Semien, and somehow they actually got better in the offseason. I mean, Gerry, let's start with the Blue Jays. How excited should we be about this team?
I mean, it's a great time to be a baseball fan in Canada. Of course, we missed the Montreal Expos, but we have the Toronto Blue Jays. I mean, to represent Canada, and they are the favorites of the AL East, and to win the American League as well, too. It's very exciting times. They have a great roster. I mean, it's built to win. Like you said, they lost Robbie Ray. They lost Marcus Semien, who hit a record 44 home runs for a second baseman. They had to find a replacement for him. They didn't really find a replacement for him, but they did a lot of good off-season moves that put them where they are today.
So we look at a Blue Jays team that has a season win total here at 92.5 games. Let's start there with your impressions of how this team could get over 92.5 wins this season, because I do think they're going to get over that total. But what do you think has to happen for this team, primarily for them to get there, Gerry?
I mean, injuries, try to avoid the DL. As we know, baseball, every year, it's probably the most injury-prone sport out there out of the major sports with the NFL. But baseball, if you lose your top pitcher, for example, Gossman goes out, that could have a little effect on the Blue Jays. So the Blue Jays just have to stay healthy, but they have a great farm system. So if anybody falls, they have that next man up, which the Blue Jays are set for the year. I'm very excited for the Blue Jays.
So are we going over 92.5 wins for the Blue Jays this year?
For the 92.5 wins, it's close. I mean, Vegas is really bang on because the AL East, you still have the Tampa Bay Rays, you still have the New York Yankees, and the Boston Red Sox. The Rays are going to be trouble. The Yankees have no pitching. I like the over 92.5, but maybe by like 2 or 3 wins. I see maybe 95 wins in the Blue Jays' season.
That's tough. I mean, that's tough. If we're thinking that they're just going to limp over the 92.5, get to 93, get to 94, I mean, that's a sweat for a future bet, considering the fact that, I mean, you're banking. If the Blue Jays are going to do some heavy lifting, George Springer needs to be healthy. He needs to play more games than he's going to miss. Yep. Teoscar Hernandez is going to have some pop. It's going to have to play some good defense, certainly, and keep them competitive. And then ultimately, it's going to come down to Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who, by the way, if we're talking about MVP candidacy, I mean, he's a legit threat to win an MVP this year. But I see him coming in at plus 600. So behind guys like Mike Trout at plus 575, Shohei Ohtani leads the way at plus 300. So from those 3 candidates, Ohtani, Trout, Guerrero Jr., who do you like in that MVP race the most?
See, it's very interesting because if we're getting into the predictions of the season, I like the Angels this year. I find that this is the year the Angels finally pull it together. Ohtani won it last year. I want to see, I think that's one of the things that a lot of baseball fans are going to watch to see if he can repeat last year's statistics, basically pitching and hitting. Trout just has to play 150 games in a season. But Guerrero at plus 600, there's value there. But you brought up an interesting name, George Springer. That's my sleeper pick as MVP. Last year, he hit 17 home runs in 50 games last year when he came off the DL. Then he got cold, but he put up 17 home runs in his first 50 games. When he came back
George Springer, Jerry, is plus 5,000. George Springer today plus 5,000.
They got him for a reason. When he came back from the DL last year, that's when the Blue Jays started to get rolling. If he stays healthy, he's actually one of the best baseball players in Major League Baseball. He's a 5-tool player. He just has to stay healthy. But at plus 5,000 value, put a little $5 on that. Put a little $10 on that. $1. Give you a little action. But George Springer is my sleeper as MVP pick for the American League because
I love that. I love that pick. Go ahead.
Yeah, because if you look at it, when Josh Donaldson won in his MVP year, Jose Bautista hit more home runs than him, had more RBIs than him. It's just Josh Donaldson had a higher batting average, and he got the hits when they counted more. So I like George Springer this year a lot.
I love that plus 5,000. A little bit of a nugget there, something to maybe, as Jerry said, maybe a little $5 down at plus 5,000, and keep that in the back of your pocket. And let me tell you something. And I've mentioned this before, right? Like Shohei Ohtani, Mike Trout, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Anybody that knows anything about baseball knows those guys, right? Like, there's no bragging, Jerry. If you say, "Oh, Shohei Ohtani is going to repeat his MVP," and you hold up your ticket, hey, look, I told you. I mean, he was the favorite to win. Yeah. But like, if you bang out, dude, a plus 5,000, you have every right to like Flex City that you pulled the George Springer plus 5,000. Jerry, you can eat off that. You can. I knew it. We just did a golf podcast the other day, and one of our guys on Jeff Feinberg, he was on Pat Mayo's golf podcast the other day. He was like, I got Danny Willett. I predicted Danny Willett to win the Masters, right? I mean, if you predicted Danny Willett to win, you can you have that for the rest of your life. You can eat out on George Springer, Jerry. I'm telling you right now, if George Springer wins the MVP, you are allowed to eat out and flex on George Springer for the rest of your life.
I'd say you're making me feel good, and there's other picks as well too, but that's the one that I'm keyed on. But hey, if that could hit, I would be very, very happy, and it wouldn't shock me though. That's the thing; it wouldn't shock me if he wins the MVP.
I like it, Gaetan. Watching the live stream, Gaetan, what's up? I agree, Springer is a possibility if he stays healthy. There you go, Gaetan. As Jerry was talking about there, if you like George Springer, put some money on him now. He's plus 5,000. So while we're talking future bets, Jerry and I are both high on the Blue Jays this year. I like them to win the American League East. They're coming in at plus 135 to win the division. I like over 92.5. Let's talk about the likeliness of World Series teams. Again, the possibilities here of how many teams out there. So let's look at some of the odds right now. The odds-on favorite to win the World Series at plus 475 are the LA Dodgers. The Toronto Blue Jays come in next. So you have your NL side, now the AL side. It is, dude, I can't believe the Blue Jays, and I'm going to repeat myself. They lost a Cy Young winner. They lost Pop and Marcus Semien, and they're better this year. Odds makers like them more this year than last year. They're plus 750, the most favorite team to win the World Series out of the American League. How many teams, Jerry, do you really think that you can throw a little bit of an investment behind that really have a chance at winning the World Series? How many teams?
Looking at the standings or this year, there's 16 teams that could actually win the World Series. But if you have to pick a couple long shots, there's one team that I'm really keyed on as well too, is the Philadelphia Phillies. One of the things, or one of my favorite interviews was Nick Castellanos. He signed with the Philadelphia Phillies. During his interview, he said, hey, listen, I suck at education. I hit bombs. This is why I signed with Philly, because I never won a playoff game, and I really believe that the Phillies could win or go all the way. And if you look at their roster, the Phillies have a sneaky roster from pitching to hitting and even their relief pitching. And I believe right now they're currently at plus 4,000. Oh no, sorry, 2,200 to win the World Series. And that's the thing. There's 16 teams under 4,000 or plus 4,000, which doesn't happen often. Usually you have your big favorites like the Dodgers, who are number one every year, but they won only one World Series, and it was a 60-game season. The Phillies are one team. The White Sox on the American side, that's the only team to me that could challenge the Blue Jays, are the Chicago White Sox. That team, that lineup,
Agreed.
From 1 to 9, they could put up runs just like the Jays. If their pitching stays healthy, just like the Blue Jays, those are the two teams in the American League, basically the Jays and the White Sox. And I see in the National League, the Phillies, and as a little surprise team, if they stay healthy again, the New York Mets. They have they have 1 and 2, the two best pitchers in Major League Baseball, and Jacob deGrom, if he stays healthy again, as you see a trend. Health is very important in Major League Baseball, and Matt Scherzer as well too is a great number 2 to have on that roster. And just the offseason moves that the Mets made as well too, this might be the year that the Mets actually do something.
I agree with that. And when we're talking some future bets here, again, I remind people, Gerry B, the prop king, looking at George Springer plus 5,000. I don't have anything as sexy as plus 5,000, but I love Juan Soto in the National League MVP at plus 300 today. So obviously not in the plus 5,000 range. A $5 bet doesn't get you nearly the same level of return on your investment. But a winner is a winner is a winner. Which takes me, I guess, right, when we talk about the Blue Jays as the odds-on favorites in the American League to represent their side in a World Series position, I've mentioned several times on TSN 690, I am not a Blue Jays guy. I'm a diehard Expo fan. I'm a bitter old sports fan. Like, I hate the fact that they beat the Expos to a World Series. Not only did they beat them twice. They won 2 World Series. Otis Nixon laying down a bunt in the World Series, bro. I want to scream to this day. I'm 43 years old. I clearly haven't gotten over it, but I'm here to tell you, dude. I'm here to tell you with a straight face, Gerry, I'm going to look you in the eye, bro. I love this team. I love this team. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., the fact that they lost Ray, the fact that they lost Simeon in free agency, made up with it with great moves in the offseason. I think their pitching staff is one of the best in baseball with Gossman and Chapman. They have great players on defense, solid players on the corners in the infield. And then the fact that our government has finally let the Blue Jays back home. They're allowed to be home. The Blue Jays are allowed to play at home. I think it's going to make a huge difference. So I really like the Blue Jays as far as future bets are concerned. Now, coming out of the National League for a second, if we're looking all the way in who I think, is going to give them trouble. I know the Dodgers, we spoke about the Dodgers as the favorites in the National League. I'm going to go with Mike Soroka and Ronald Acuna Jr. in the Atlanta Braves, man. Again, back to my childhood. I could never, as a lifelong Expo fan, ever cheer for anybody in Atlanta. But they have had one of the best minor leagues in baseball for years. Yes. You're starting to see that talent graduate to the top level and play, for Atlanta at the major league level. I'm high on the Atlanta Braves coming out of the National League. So I guess if I'm looking at a future bet, lock me in for Atlanta and the Blue Jays in the World Series, Gerry.
That's a lot of people's prediction. They see the Braves, and basically the Braves are where the Blue Jays want to be in a sense. They have similar teams, young talent that they grew through their farm system. The Braves, even though they lost Freddie Freeman, they went out and got Matt Olson. Matt Olson, he's an easy 30 home run guy who could get 100 RBIs in that lineup. I'm with you. I like the Braves, but in that division with the Phillies, the Mets.
It's a much better division now, finally. It's a much improved division.
Even the Marlins. If you look at the Marlins, the trade that they made last year with the Oakland Athletics, they traded away Sterling Marte. They literally got Oakland's 3 best prospects. So Oakland threw away everybody. They have one pitcher named Jesus Luzardo for the Marlins. They have a secret pitching staff over there for the Marlins. That's one of the sleeper teams that could maybe sneak in that final wild card if you didn't know that the wild card went from 10 to 12 teams now. So that means there's 3 wild card teams that are making it to the playoffs. So the Marlins might be that sleeper that takes that final wild card. But, I mean, that division, just the AL East and
Agreed.
the NL East, those 2 divisions are just wonderful.
I agree.
And you also have to look at the AL West, that's where you have the secret teams. You have the Angels. You have the
Mariners. Really? I mean, this is a one-team division, right? Like, you're not telling. Everybody's picking the Astros to come out of the West.
I mean, the Astros didn't lose much.
No.
Even though they lost Carlos Carrera.
Yeah.
They have Jose Pena, who's exactly like a miniature Carlos Carrera, and he's probably going to lead off for the Astros. But look at the Mariners. The Mariners have a solid team. They made some moves in that last trade that they made 2 weeks ago with the Cincinnati Reds to get the 2 best power hitters from the Reds, Jesse Winker and Eugenio Suarez.
But they got a lot of unproven guys, Jerry, in Seattle. It's hard to
have my favorite rookie. They have baby Jose Bautista. If you watch Jose Bautista for the last 10 years, it's the J-Rod show. Julio Rodriguez, he played for the Dominicans during the Olympics. What was it, the 2020 Olympics in 2021? He's starting in center field for them. He is literally a clone of Jose Bautista. And I like the Mariners, and that's why they went out to get Robbie Ray, because they needed pitching. They got Robbie Ray. I'm not saying that they're going to win it all, but that is a team that you cannot sleep on is the Mariners, because if there's a team in the AL West that could challenge the Houston Astros, it is the Seattle Mariners.
I agree. And, it's interesting you lead us down this path, right? Because, like, when I look at that division, I think the Angels lack depth. I think Seattle has unproven talent. You talk about Rodriguez. I think he's going to be your rookie of the year, personally. I like, for the Padres, C.J. Abrams on the other side. Man, he's another super stud. There's another Suzuki is going to be another player to watch out for. Yeah, Saye. I wasn't trying to pronounce his first name, so I just said his last name. And we're in a good spot. We're in a good spot for, like, young, upcoming talent spread across the league, Jerry.
Honestly, right now, if you haven't been into baseball for the last 10 years or 15 years since the Expos left, now is the time. The talent is just coming. I mean, you can look at just look at the Blue Jays, for example. You have Bichette, you have Guerrero. These are kids of former Major League Baseball players, and now you have other kids of former Major League players are coming. But there's one prospect that I'm really hoping he gets called up from, and he would actually make the Baltimore Orioles pretty fun to watch, is Adley Rutschman. He is a switch-hitting catcher who has a lot of pop, who can hit for average. If he makes it into the league within the next month or two, that could be your rookie of the year. But as you brought up C.J. Abrams, who is a stud for the San Diego Padres. But as long as Julio Rodriguez is starting at center field for the Seattle Mariners, I think it's almost a shoo-in or a certainty that he wins the rookie of the year for.
Well, it's going to be fun. You got Spencer Torkelson on one side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got some young players. O'Neal Cruz is another guy that comes to mind that you think about. So, like, I mean, baseball's in a good little spot. Jerry, let's go over some divisions if you don't mind, okay? We'll alternate back and forth. We can skip over the AL East, right? Like, you and I both have the Blue Jays there. I think the team
AL East,
the team that could give them the biggest sweat are the Tampa Bay Rays.
Yes, of course. The Rays are solid. The Yankees have no pitching. If you are a Yankee fan, I mean, I'm sorry. You do have the power lineup, but you don't have the pitching.
Yes. Now, let's jump to the National League in the East Division there. We talked briefly about the Phillies, about the division being better. I'm going to have Atlanta, even though they lost Freddie Freeman, which is a big hole to fill, a big leadership void and an offensive void to fill, but they're all around super deep, super talented. So I like Atlanta out of the NL East. What do you got?
I got the Phillies. I got the Phillies coming out of the NL East. I think they have the roster if they stay healthy. And, I mean, look at their lineup as well.
I know.
It's a great hitting lineup.
I know. Let's jump to the American League Central. I think he's my American League Cy Young, Lucas Giolito, coming out of the Chicago White Sox with Lance Lynn and Dylan Cease. I want to pick Minnesota. I like the Twins, But I'm a big pitching guy, and those three arms out of the rotation for the White Sox, I got to take the White Sox out of the Central, Jerry.
I'm happy that you brought up the Twins because they have a sneaky lineup as well too. But I do have the White Sox winning the AL Central, and not only Giolito, as another MVP candidate, Luis Robert. He's one of my favorite players right now to watch in Major League Baseball. Right. He's a young kid as well too, 22, 23 years old. Speed, has a bat. I mean,
what was there? Brian Buxton. He's another guy too.
Brian Buxton for the Twins as well too. And again, it's health. All it has to do is health. If these players stay healthy, and that's why you can hit these 4,000 plus 4,000 plus 2,200. If a player just stays healthy and he gets his team that division, I mean, hey, there's a lot that could happen.
I like that. And also, like, you're going to be watching some Minnesota Twins baseball. Start betting the overs early because I think they're going to score runs in bunches. I think Chicago's just better on both sides of the ball, personally. Mm-hmm. So from the AL Central to the NL Central, again, Jerry, I'm going to look at this as a two-team division between St. Louis and Milwaukee. Yeah. And I'm going to go with the Cardinals one more time to come out of the Central. What's your feel on the NL Central?
I mean, I'm with you on that as well, too. I got the St. Louis Cardinals. I mean, their lineup is just incredible. Their pitching
and Albert's
is
back
great.
Too. Pujols is back too, right?
DHing as well too, and he needs to hit 21 home runs to reach 700. So
wild.
So that's his goal. So he wants to hit bombs, and he did declare this is his final season. But what an incredible career! I mean, I think he was there when the Expos were there, or he began his career with St. Louis when the Expos were playing.
Yeah, it's wild. Like, so you're gonna have Yadier Molina, Adam Wainwright, and Albert Pujols all together in St. Louis with Big Al DH. AL West, I'm all in. I think this is the easiest division. I'm all in on the Astros in the West. Are you going off the board here or not?
The Astros, I'm basing myself off of the last time that they made it to the World Series, and then they came out sluggish the next year. I see the Mariners. The Mariners just have that squad that seems to be hungry.
I like it.
Their lineup is you have Adam Frazier that they got at second base, and Julio Rodriguez. He is a stud. Honestly, if you're up late night, Seattle is probably going to be your West Coast team to watch instead of the Dodgers, just because of how exciting the Mariners are going to be. I had them coming out of the AL West.
I like that. I'm trying to find the AL West. There we go. Plus 450, brother.
That's a good one. That's a nice little one.
Plus 450. The Astros.
What are the Angels?
Bro, the Astros minus 180 and laying juice on a future bet. That's how heavily.
Never do that.
There.
Never do that.
I'm doing it.
You'll lay juice on the. Okay.
You don't get to tell me what to do. I'm laying $180 to win $100. What a square bet that is. Your Angels plus 375.
Oh,
your Angels plus 375. So we go from the West to the NL West. LA Dodgers all day, every day. I mean, again, I don't want to overthink things. I mean, I like the Padres a little bit, but like when we go through the NL West division, the Dodgers minus 240, minus 2. Jerry,
have you seen their line?
You have to risk losing $240 to make $100.
Sounds like you're doing a 2-team future parlay for
minus
for
minus
the
105 to get still with the juice. Shit. The Padres, by the way, plus 340 to win the NL West. I might throw a little on the Padres because they have so many studs on that roster, man.
They do. Not having Tatis for the first 2 months of the season will affect them a little bit, but I mean, the Padres, they're that team that the Blue Jays were maybe 3 years ago. You're just waiting for them to peak. And I mean, they have the talent as well too, but I think this year it's all about the Blue Jays in the AL, the White Sox, Angels, and not the Astros. Honestly, I would pick the Astros to miss the playoffs.
Jesus!
I'm going all in. I mean, the Astros. Carlos Correa. Correa. Sorry about that. I mean, he was a leader on that team, and losing your shortstop. I mean, I grew up playing baseball. You grew up playing baseball. A shortstop is a very important position in baseball. And if you lose a guy like that and you're putting in a rookie, you're putting a lot on the rookie.
I don't disagree.
I think that losing him will affect the Astros. And I mean, look at their pitching staff. I mean, Verlander is still there, but he's not throwing 100 anymore. He's throwing 96, 97. And in that division, I think that the Astros end up racking up some losses.
For what it's worth, still talking futures for the upcoming Major League Baseball season. I mentioned it earlier when we were talking about the AL Central. I really like Lucas Giolito for the Chicago White Sox to win an AL Central Cy Young Award or an American League Cy Young. I think Garrett Cole's also going to get some love. There's another guy I think is I'm expecting to have a strong season. But on the other side, Sandy Alcantara, for me, is going to be someone to watch out for. Yeah.
Beautiful. I'm happy you brought him up. I'm happy that you brought him up because he has a great sinker and great stuff. I'm really happy you brought him up.
Anyone there? Obviously, no Jacob deGrom this year with that nonsense of his injury. But as far as Cy Young futures, anything tip the scales?
To me, this might be the year that Walker Buehler of the LA Dodgers becomes the best pitcher in the National League. Nice. I think he has. Now, since Scherzer has left, he probably got he learned some things from him. I think this is the year that he wins the Cy Young because he has the stuff. He could throw everything over 95 miles per hour.
Yeah.
His spin rate is just incredible. If I had to pick one in the National League, it would be Walker Buehler. And don't sleep on Zach Wheeler or Aaron Nola of the Philadelphia Phillies as well, too. And
you're big on the Phillies.
That's the reason why. If you're big on a team, go with the players. Go for the MVPs. Like Bryce Harper won the MVP last year for the Phillies. And if I have to go towards the American League, honestly, Shohei Ohtani, if the Angels make it, he has to win almost 15 to 20 games with an ERA under 3, 200 strikeouts. And I mean, he can easily do it and hit 40 bombs, which I mean.
Don't disagree. So let's lock in. Can we lock in because we're coming up on half an hour here.
Mm-hmm.
Can we lock in our World Series bets?
Yep, we could go with.
Is that your daughter? Or is that your daughter screaming in the back?
No, that's actually my Bengal cat. I think my cat is asking me. See, she's hungry.
Bro, your cat sounds like a human.
That's what a Bengal cat is. That's why they cost a lot. They're like a human.
Jeez, let me see. Where's the kitty? I want to see it. Put her on screen.
I don't know. I think she's upstairs actually. I'll find her.
These cats.
They're sophisticated. But if I had to pick my World Series,
who do you got?
I got Jays against the Phillies, just like in 1992, actually.
No Mitch Williams this time.
No Mitch
Joe. Touch him all. Fuck off, Joe. I hate to say this because my skin's burning, but I'm going Atlanta-Toronto.
You're going Atlanta. You shouldn't let it burn your skin. I mean, if we want a baseball team back in Montreal, we have to show love for baseball for all the teams.
Jerry, baseball's never coming back. It's never coming back. Stu Sternberg was basically a cock tease, more or less. Kept teasing us about the team, the stadium, the team. Never. It was all a leverage play. It was so shit. I'm still bothered.
I'm still bothered by it as well, too. There is a slim chance, but now you got cities like Vegas and all that gunning for baseball teams. But we still have to show love for the game. I know people say, "Oh, baseball died in 2004." It died in Montreal in 2004, but it still went on. So we have to appreciate it, and I think that this is the season that everybody could get into it and enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna. Your cat is going mental,
bonkers.
Bro, when was the last time you fed your cat?
Literally 1 hour ago. They need attention.
Jerry, don't deprive your. What's your cat's name?
Mika. Like Mika Hakkinen.
Go get your cat. I'm going to talk for a minute. Go get your cat. I want to see your kitty. Go get.
Let me go get the cat.
Go, hurry up. There's Gerry B, the Prop King. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thanks for all your comments. Gaytown especially. Looking at futures. So hopefully you jotted down some of our best bets. Of course, we're presented by Ash Gregoire Shaman and Nissan, K-Stop Gas Bar and Kempener, Highway 138 in Gattawage, and Poutineville, Vaudreuil, Dorion. Live comedy coming April 15th and 16th.
Catless.
Look at this guy. Hey, cats rule the world, the bastard.
Catless.
Now, before we let you go, we have to chime in on the Masters. Tiger's playing 9 holes this morning. Look, he's going to play. He's going to play on Thursday. So quickly, here are my Masters picks, okay? Brooks Koepka from the favorites, I think, is going to win the Masters. And if you're looking for a little bit more value, Corey Connors and Shane Lowry. Both of these guys, in their last 50 rounds, Shane Lowry's ball striking better than Colin Morikawa, better than Patrick Cantlay, and the same thing for Corey Connors. In their last 50 rounds, these are the best ball strikers on tour. We just need Corey's putter to go hot. So those are my 2 long shot plays. And from the favorites, I like Brooks Koepka at the Masters.
Every year, I always put money on this golfer, Mark Leishman. I think that he is going to win 1 Masters in his life. He's always in the top 5. In the last 4 or 5 years, he's always in the top 5. I always put a little bit of money on him. That's always my long shot. But I'm with you. Brooks Koepka, I like him this year. What do you think about Tiger Woods? Does he make the cut?
Plus 100 to last time I looked, he was plus 100 to make the cut. To miss the cut, minus 130 to make it. Tiger Woods is going to make the cut, I believe. I mean, it's one of those courses, right, that he could play with his eyes closed. You have to know where to miss at Augusta if you're going to be there. And Tiger, with his 5 green jackets, he knows the course, I think, better than anybody in the field that has a chance. So I would be very surprised if Tiger isn't there on the weekend, Jerry.
What a story it would be if he's in the top 5, though, right?
He's got to be. Look, I mean, everything hinges on his ability to bury the pain, because I don't think the pain is going away.
No.
It's whether or not he can put that behind him and focus on the swing. Because as someone that plays a lot of golf and takes it seriously, when your legs get tired, your mind gets tired. And when those 2 things happen, you lose it. You lose your swing. So everything to me hinges on Tiger's ability to deal with pain and bury it and concentrate on the swing, concentrate on the next shot. Because as Tiger told his son, Charlie, it doesn't matter whether you're playing with your friends or your buddies or a real tournament. The only thing that matters is the shot you're going to hit next. And Tiger's going to take that mental approach to him. So I'm going to say he makes the cut.
He said the hardest thing will be walking this weekend.
Yes. Oh, it's brutal. I've walked it. I've walked the course. I've been there. I've walked Augusta. It is ridiculous.
It's hills.
The 10th hole, Jerry, it's a ski hill. It goes 50 yards up and then 50 yards down. And every hole is twisting and turning. TV doesn't do the undulations justice.
Really
seeing it in real life. Yeah. All right. Awesome, Jerry. Thanks as always, man. We'll be back soon. Throughout the course of the Major League Baseball season, we'll have lots of bets and lots of thoughts on the upcoming season. It starts Friday, so yeah, can't wait. Jerry, good stuff. Thanks, brother.
Thank you, and my cat says thanks as well too.
Yeah. They're such a diva. Next time, come on the podcast. All right, Jerry. Peace.
Hey, peace.